Dr. Mina Park stood in the cold metal room, her hands tied behind her back with thick chains. The bright lights above made her eyes hurt, but she kept looking straight ahead at the 5 judges sitting behind a curved table. Their faces looked angry and disappointed. "Dr. Park," said the man in the middle, his voice deep and scary, "you have done something very bad. You refuse to help us make weapons from your research. This makes you a traitor to all humans." Mina did not say anything. She remembered the day they asked her to turn her work into something that could hurt aliens. She had spent years studying how different creatures think and talk without words. Her research was meant to help humans understand aliens better, not to kill them. The woman judge on the left spoke next. "Your work on alien brain patterns could have helped us win wars. Instead, you chose to protect our enemies." "Why?" Mina finally spoke, her voice quiet but strong. "Because understanding is better than fighting. These creatures are not our enemies. They are just different from us." The judges looked at each other and shook their heads. The middle judge hit his hammer on the table 3 times. "Dr. Mina Park, we find you guilty of treason. Your punishment is exiled to Nexus 7. Everyone in the room became very quiet. Nexus 7 was known by everyone as the Death Planet. It was where the military sent the most dangerous alien creatures they captured. No human had ever lived there for more than 3 days. The planet was like a prison for monsters. You will be taken there tomorrow," the judge continued. "May this serve as a warning to anyone who thinks about betraying humanity." Guards came and took Mina away to a small cell. That night, she sat on the hard bed and thought about her life. She had always wanted to help people understand aliens better. She believed that most conflict happened because different species could not talk to each other properly. The next morning, soldiers put her on a small gray spaceship. The pilot, a young man named Teho, looked sad when he saw her. "I am sorry, Dr. Park," he whispered. "I know your work. You are a good person." Mina smiled at him. "Thank you for your kindness." The ship was small and uncomfortable. Mina sat in a chair with metal bars around it, like a cage. Through the small window, she watched the stars pass by. Earth became smaller and smaller until she could not see it anymore. During the long trip, Mina thought about what she knew about Nexus 7. The planet was covered with strange plants and had air that humans could breathe for a short time. But the real danger was the creatures that lived there. The most feared one was called Balam. Reports said it was huge, with many arms and teeth like knives. It had killed every human who had been sent to the planet. "We will arrive in 2 hours," Teho announced over the speaker. Mina opened her small bag and checked what she had. The judges had let her keep only basic things: a water bottle, some food bars, a small medical kit, and a notebook with a pen. It was not much to survive on an alien planet. As the ship got closer to Nexus 7, Mina could see the planet through the window. It looked purple and green, with strange shapes moving in the clouds. The surface had tall mountains and deep valleys filled with plants that glowed with soft light. "Dr. Park," Teho called from the front of the ship. "The computer says the air on this planet will not kill you right away, but it is not good for humans. You have maybe 6 to 8 hours before it becomes dangerous." "Thank you for telling me," Mina replied. The ship landed with a loud bump in a clearing surrounded by tall, strange trees. The trees had metal-like bark that shined in the alien sun. Their leaves were blue and purple, and moved even when there was no wind. Teho opened the door and looked at Mina with sad eyes. "I wish things were different," he said. "Do not worry about me," Mina told him. "Sometimes the best discoveries happen when we are forced to see things in a new way." She stepped out of the ship onto the soft, spongy ground. The air smelled sweet, but also had a sharp taste that made her nose tingle. Strange sounds came from the forest around her: clicks, whistles, and deep rumbling noises. The ship doors closed, and Teho took off quickly. Mina watched until the ship disappeared into the purple sky. Now she was truly alone on a planet where everything wanted to kill her. She looked around at the alien forest. In the distance, she could hear something big moving through the trees. The sounds were getting closer. Mina picked up her small bag and started walking away from the noise, but she knew she could not run forever. As the sun began to set, casting strange shadows through the glowing plants. Mina found a place to rest near some large rocks. She opened her notebook and began to write about everything she had seen. Even if she died here, maybe someone would find her notes and learn something useful. The sounds in the forest were getting louder and closer. Something very big was coming her way. The night sounds grew louder as Mina tried to sleep behind the rocks. Strange calls echoed to the forest, some high and musical, others deep like thunder. She kept her eyes closed but stayed alert, listening to every noise around her. When the purple sun rose, Mina felt tired but alive. She drank some water from her bottle and ate half of a food bar. Her stomach felt empty, but she needed to save her supplies. The air still tasted strange, but she could breathe without too much trouble. She started walking to the forest, looking for water or food she could eat safely. The trees were unlike anything on Earth. Some had fruits that glowed like small lights. Others had leaves that made soft music when the wind touched them. Mina wrote notes about everything she saw. After walking for 2 hours, she found a small stream with clear water. She filled her bottle and used a tablet from her medical kit to clean the water. As she knelt by the stream, she heard something behind her. The sound was like heavy breathing mixed with a low growl. Mina turned around slowly, trying not to make sudden movements. Her heart started beating very fast. Through the trees, she saw something massive moving toward her. It was bigger than anything she had ever seen. The creature walked on 6 legs, each one as thick as a tree trunk. Its body was covered with scales that looked like pieces of colored glass. They caught the sunlight and threw rainbow colors in all directions. The creature had a long neck and a head with many eyes arranged in a circle. Its mouth was full of teeth, but what scared Mina most were its movements. The creature walked in a strange way, like it could not control its leg properly. Its head shook back and forth, and it made sounds of pain. This had to be Balam, the monster that killed everyone who came to this planet. Mina stood very still by the stream. She expected the creature to charge at her and end her life quickly. But Balam stopped about 20 feet away and looked at her with all those strange eyes. The creature made a sound like crying. It pressed its huge head against a tree and rubbed it back and forth. Mina watched as Balam suddenly fell to ground, its body shaking violently. The attack lasted for almost a minute before the creature became still. Mina had seen this before in her research on Earth animals. These were not the movements of a healthy predator. This creature was sick. Slowly, very slowly, Mina took a step closer. Balam lifted its head and looked at her but did not attack. Instead, the creature made a soft whimpering sound, like a hurt animal asking for help. "You are in pain, are not you?" Mina said quietly. Balam tilted its massive head to one side, as if trying to understand her voice. The creature's eyes were not focused properly. Some looked at her, while others stared at nothing. Mina opened her notebook and started drawing what she saw. The irregular eye movements, the muscle spasms, the way Balam pressed his head against hard surfaces. She had studied enough alien biology to recognize the signs. This creature had some kind of brain problem. Over the next hour, Mina watched Balam from a safe distance. The creature would try to walk normally, then suddenly lose control and crash into trees. Sometimes it would make angry roars, but the sound seemed to be directed at its own body, not at her. During one bad episode, Balam collapsed completely. Its breathing became fast and shallow. Without thinking, Mina took a step forward. The creature looked at her with what seemed like surprise. "I know you are suffering," she said softly. "I wish I could help you." Balam made a different sound now, quieter and less frightening. The creature stretched out one of its front legs toward her, but not in a threatening way. It was more like reaching out for comfort. Mina realized something important. The reports about Balam were wrong. This creature was not a vicious killer. It was sick and probably scared. All those humans who died before might have run away screaming, making Balam more confused and aggressive. She sat down on a fallen log about 15 feet from the creature. Balam watched her carefully but did not move closer. They stayed like this for a long time, just looking at each other. As the day went on, Mina noticed patterns in Balam's behavior. The creature had good moments when it seemed almost calm and peaceful. During these times, its movements were graceful and its eyes focused properly. But then the bad episode would return, making Balam thrash around in obvious pain. When the sun started setting, Mina knew she needed to find shelter. But she also felt something strange. She did not want to leave this suffering creature alone. "I will come back tomorrow," she told Balam. The creature made a soft sound, almost like it understood her words. As Mina walked away to find a place to sleep, she could hear Balam moving through the forest behind her, not following exactly, but staying nearby. For the first time since arriving on this planet, Mina did not feel completely alone. She had found something unexpected. Not a monster, but a fellow living being who needed help. That night, as she tried to sleep, Mina thought about what she had learned. Maybe the real monster was not Balam at all. The next morning, Mina woke up to find strange fruits placed near her sleeping spot. They were purple and round, about the size of her fist. She looked around and saw Balam watching her from behind some trees. The creature had brought her food. Mina picked up one of the fruits carefully. It smelled sweet and felt soft in her hands. She took a small bite and waited to see if it would make her sick. The fruit tasted like honey mixed with something she could not name. After an hour, she felt fine, so she ate the rest. "Thank you," she called to Balam. The creature made a low, gentle sound and came closer. In the daylight, Mina could see Balam more clearly. The colored scales were beautiful, like a living rainbow. But she also saw scratches and cuts on the creature's hide. Some looked fresh, others looked old. Balam had been hurting itself during the painful episodes. Mina spent the morning watching and taking notes. She counted the time between Balam's attacks. They came every 2 to 3 hours and lasted about 10 minutes. During the attacks, the creature would lose control completely, crashing into trees and rocks. Between attacks, Balam was different. The creature moved with grace and seemed very smart. It would bring Mina different plants and fruits, waiting to see if she would eat them. When she ate something, Balam would nod its big head, like it was happy to help. On the third day, Mina decided to try something. During one of Balam's bad episodes, instead of staying away, she moved closer. The creature was on the ground, shaking and making sound of pain. "It is okay," Mina said in a soft voice. "You are safe." She sat down next to Balam's huge head and began to hum a gentle song her mother used to sing. The creature's shaking slowly got less violent. Its breathing became slower and deeper. When the episode ended, Balam looked at her with all of its eyes focused together for the first time. From that moment, something changed between them. Balam began to trust her completely. When the painful episodes came, the creature would come to Mina instead of running away. She would sit with Balam and talk quietly until the pain passed. Mina also learned that Balam was very intelligent. The creature could solve problems and remember things. It learned which plants Mina liked to eat and would bring her fresh ones every day. Balam also showed her where to find clean water and safe places to sleep. More importantly, Balam started teaching her about the planet. The creature would take her to different parts of the forest and show her things. Some plants were dangerous and would burn her skin. Others had healing properties. There were places where the ground was not stable and could collapse. Balam knew all of this and shared the knowledge with her. By the end of the first week, they had developed their own way of communicating, without words. Balam would touch certain plants with its leg to show Mina they were safe to eat. When something was dangerous, the creature would move its head from side to side. For yes or agreement, Balam would nod up and down. Mina also learned to understand Balam's different sounds. A low rumble meant the creature was content. Sharp clicks meant danger was near. Soft whistles meant Balam wanted her to follow. The most amazing discovery came during the second week. Mina was studying some strange marks on trees when she realized they were made by Balam. The creature had been scratching symbols into the bark. The symbols seemed to represent different things: water, food, danger, safe places. "You have your own writing system," Mina said with wonder. Balam made happy sounds and began showing her more symbols. The creature was trying to teach her its language. Over the following days, Mina learned dozens of symbols. She could now read basic messages that Balam left on trees throughout their territory. But the painful episodes continued. Mina watched helplessly as her friend suffered every few hours. She studied her medical books and thought about what could cause these symptoms. The irregular behavior, the loss of control, the way Balam's eyes could not focus properly during attacks. It all pointed to one thing. Something was wrong with Balam's brain. On the 15th day, Mina made an important discovery. While examining some of Balam's scales that had fallen off, she found tiny creatures living on them. Under her small magnifying glass, she could see they were some kind of parasite. They were so small she had missed them before. These parasites were probably living inside Balam's body too, affecting the creature's nervous system. That would explain the seizures, the pain, and the loss of control. Someone or something had infected Balam with these parasites. As Mina thought about this, she remembered stories about the military bringing captured creatures to this planet for experiments. They had probably infected Balam on purpose, to study the effects or to make the creature more aggressive. They did this to you, Mina said, feeling angry. They made you sick. Balam seemed to understand her tone and made sad sounds. The creature had been suffering for who knows how long, and everyone thought it was naturally violent. That night, as Mina sat next to her sleeping friend, she made a promise. She would find a way to help Balam get better. She did not have much equipment, but she had knowledge and determination. Mina spent 3 days looking through the wreckage of her crashed ship. Most of the equipment was broken, but she found some useful pieces. There was a small device that could make electromagnetic waves, part of the ship's communication system. She also found some batteries and wires that still worked. She carried everything back to the clearing where she and Balam usually met. Her friend watched with curiosity as she spread the broken parts on a flat rock. Balam had learned that when Mina worked with strange objects, interesting things happened. "I am going to try to help you," Mina explained as she worked. "These parasites in your brain are making you sick. If I can use the right frequency, I might be able to hurt them without hurting you." Balam tilted its massive head and made questioning sounds. The creature could not understand her words, but it seemed to sense her serious mood. Working with simple tools was hard. Mina had to connect wires by twisting them together and wrap them with pieces of fabric to keep them safe. She used her medical knowledge to calculate what frequency might work against the tiny parasites. After 2 days of work, she had built something that looked like a small box with wires coming out of it. The device could produce electromagnetic waves at different frequencies. She hoped it would work like the expensive medical equipment she had used in her laboratory on Earth. "We need to test this," Mina said to Balam. "But I want you to understand, this might not work. It might even hurt you." Balam made the low rumbling sound that meant agreement. The creature trusted Mina completely. Over the past weeks, she had never done anything to harm it. Mina waited for one of Balam's seizure episodes to begin. When the creature started shaking and losing control, she turned on her device. The box made a soft humming sound as electromagnetic waves poured out of it. At first, nothing seemed to change. Balam continued to thrash around in pain. But after a few minutes, Mina noticed something different. The seizure was not lasting as long as usual. Instead of 10 minutes of suffering, this episode ended after only 6 minutes. "It worked a little bit," Mina said excitedly. Over the next few days, Mina used her device during every seizure. Each time, the episodes got shorter and less violent. Balam seemed to understand what she was doing and would come to her when the pain started. But the device could only work for short periods before the batteries died. Mina had to save power for when it was most needed. She also worried that the equipment would break completely if she used it too much. While continuing the treatments, Mina also searched for natural remedies. Balam helped by showing her different plants around the forest. The creature had learned to bring her anything that smelled like medicine. Mina found several plants that had healing properties. One had leaves that could reduce swelling. Another had roots that seemed to calm the nervous system. She made simple medicines by boiling the plants in water and mixing them together. The combination of electromagnetic treatment and plant medicine began to show real results. After 3 weeks of careful treatment, Balam's seizures became much less frequent. Instead of every few hours, They now happened only once or twice a day. More importantly, Balam was changing in other ways. The creature became more active and curious. Its eyes stayed focused most of the time now. The beautiful scales began to grow back shinier and healthier than before. During this time, Mina learned more about her friend's intelligence. Balam started helping with the treatments, bringing her specific plants without being asked. The creature even learned to operate the simple electromagnetic device by touching certain wires with its claws. One morning, Mina woke up to find that Balam had built something amazing. The creature had arranged stones in a perfect circle around a small pool of water. Inside the circle were arranged different healing plants, organized by type and color. "You made a healing garden," Mina said with amazement. Balam made happy sounds and began showing her how each plant should be prepared. The creature had been watching her work and had learned to make medicine itself. As Balam got healthier, Mina discovered more about the creature's true personality. Her friend was gentle, playful, and incredibly smart. Balam would bring her interesting rocks and flowers, like gifts. The creature also liked to play simple games, like hiding objects and having Mina find them. Best of all, Balam began showing her the most beautiful parts of the planet. There were waterfalls that glowed in the dark, and caves filled with singing crystals. There were fields of flowers that changed colors with the wind. Balam had been keeping all of these wonders to itself because it was too sick to share them before. After a month of treatment, something wonderful happened. Balam went 3 whole days without a single seizure. The creature was still not completely healthy, but the improvement was remarkable. "You are getting better, my friend," Mina said, stroking Balam's huge head. The creature made the happiest sound she'd ever heard and gently touched her shoulder with one massive claw. For the first time since arriving on this planet, Mina felt truly hopeful. She had not just survived, she had found a way to heal and help. More than that, she had found the most amazing friendship of her life. 3 months after Mina's exile, Captain Junho received orders that surprised him. His mission was simple: go to Nexus 7 and collect Dr. Park's remains for proper burial. The Galactic Council wanted to close her case officially. This should be quick. Junho told his crew as their ship approached the purple planet. No human has ever survived more than 72 hours down there. The ship's sensors began scanning the surface for life signs. What they found made everyone on the bridge stare at their screens in confusion. "Sir," said the young officer at the sensor station, "I am reading 2 large life forms in the same area. One matches the size of the creature they call Balam. The other is much smaller, about human size." "That is impossible," Junho said. "Run the scan again." The results were the same. Somewhere on the planet below, a human-sized life form was moving around, very much alive. Junho ordered his team to prepare for landing. 6 soldiers put on their protective suits and checked their weapons. They expected to find a dangerous situation. Maybe Dr. Park was somehow hiding from the monster, barely staying alive. The ship landed in a clearing near where the life signs were strongest. As the soldiers walked through the strange forest, they could hear sounds ahead, someone humming a song, and what sounded like gentle conversation. "Stay alert," Junho whispered to his men. "Something is very wrong here." They moved quietly through the trees until they reached the edge of another clearing. What they saw there made them freeze in shock. Dr. Mina Park was sitting calmly next to a small garden, sorting through different colored plants. She looked healthy and clean, not like someone who had been struggling to survive. But that was not the most surprising part. Lying peacefully beside her was the massive creature known as Balam. The monster that had killed every previous human on this planet was resting quietly like a giant pet. Its rainbow-colored scales caught the sunlight beautifully. "Target the creature," Junho shouted, raising his weapon. Mina stood up quickly and moved between the soldiers and Balam. "No," she said firmly. "Do not hurt him." "Dr. Park, get away from that thing," Junho called. "We are here to rescue you." "I do not need rescuing," Mina replied calmly. "And Balam is not dangerous. He is my friend." The soldiers could not believe what they were hearing. The creature that was supposed to be the most feared predator in the galaxy was making soft, gentle sounds. It looked at the soldiers with curiosity, not anger. This is impossible, one of the soldiers whispered. How are you still alive? Mina smiled. Because I listened instead of shooting. I helped instead of fighting. Balam was never a monster. He was sick and in pain. Over the next hour, Mina showed the soldiers everything she had learned. She demonstrated how Balam had helped her survive, bringing food and water and protecting her from real dangers on the planet. She showed them the healing garden they had built together and the symbol language Balam had taught her. Most importantly, she showed them her research notes and the small parasites she had removed from Balam's body. These parasites were put in him by military scientists, Mina explained. They caused brain damage that made him aggressive and unpredictable. When I cured him, he became peaceful. Junho examined the evidence with growing amazement. Dr. Park's notes were detailed and scientific. Her treatment methods were clearly documented. The proof was undeniable. We need to report this immediately, he said. Back on the ship, Junho sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council. The response came quickly. They wanted Dr. Park, and all her research brought back to Earth immediately. I will come with you, Mina told Junho. But Balam comes too. I will not leave him alone again. That creature will not fit in our ship, Junho said. Then bring a bigger ship, Mina replied firmly. 2 weeks later, a massive transport ship arrived at Nexus 7. The entire Galactic Council came to see the impossible sight of a human and the feared Balam living together peacefully. At the council hearing, Mina presented all her evidence. She showed videos of Balam helping her, medical data about the parasites, and proof that the military's experiments had created the very monster they feared. Dr. Park, said Admiral Jinwoo, the same man who had sentenced her to exile, your work proves that our methods were wrong. We owe you an apology. The council offered Mina anything she wanted, her old job back, a promotion, money, honor, anything. I want only one thing, Mina said. I want Nexus 7 to become a research station for peaceful contact with alien species, and I want to run it with Balam as my partner. The council agreed immediately. 6 months later, Dr. Mina Park stood in her new laboratory on Nexus 7, watching Balam play with a group of young scientists who had come to learn her methods. The planet that was once a prison had become a center for understanding and peace. Ships came regularly now, bringing researchers who wanted to learn how to communicate with alien species without violence. Mina taught them all the same lessons she had learned, that patience, kindness, and understanding could accomplish more than any weapon. Sometimes, late at night, Mina would sit with Balam under the alien stars and remember her exile. The council had meant to punish her by sending her to die. Instead, they had given her the greatest gift of her life, the chance to prove that love was stronger than fear.